My name is Carey Leslie and I'm a textile artist. My work includes sewing, dressmaking, upholstery and soft furnishings. I do a little bit of hand knitting and I've recently started weaving knotted rugs using a traditional toothbrush needle. I would call myself more of a crafter, but I wanted to put on this exhibition to prove to myself that my crafting is an artistic practice. I began studying fashion and textiles at Leeds University, but I changed to Edinburgh College of Art, where I gained a degree in graphic design. After a hiatus, I began studying interior styling in Sydney and then worked in interior furnishings until I left Australia. When I came back to Edinburgh, I had worked in a sewing shop, which reignited my interest in fashion and textiles, bringing me full circle back to where I started. As I learnt more about sewing and dressmaking, I began to become aware of the impact that the fashion and textile industry has on the environment. I began doing research into the practices that allow us to have the mass quantities of affordable clothing we have today. When I started making my own clothes, I began to understand the work that goes into creating a garment. If I was paid a fair wage to produce the garments I've made, I would have to sell them for hundreds of pounds. I realised that if you're able to buy garments so cheaply on the high street, it is most likely because of exploitative practices. Garment production has doubled since the early 2000s. 62 million tonnes were produced in 2015, with a predictive growth to 103 million tonnes in 2030. Some of this growth can be explained by population growth, but mostly it is mass overconsumption fueled by fashion brands and the fast fashion industry. Some of my earlier work that I will show is not using ethical fabrics or materials because at the time I wasn't aware of these issues. I will clearly state where this is the case. My peacock corset was a project that I started over 10 years ago. Having started it and bought materials, I never finished it and it sat in a drawer for years. I chose to finish it for this exhibition, but to pair it with the recycled fabric tutu to show my progression. For the tutu, I knitted a belt using yarn made from recycled saris and strips of fabric offcuts. The rug that I have woven is made entirely from recycled fabrics. It is made using strips of old bed sheets. I dyed the fabrics using environmentally safe dyes, ripped them into strips and used an old Amish knotting technique to weave them by hand into a rug. They are very time consuming to make, but I find it a totally meditative and addictive process. My more modern pieces, such as the jumpsuit and the shirt dress, are made from fabric I bought from organiccotton.biz, a family-run business in Wales who sell organic and sustainable fabric and cotton. I totally appreciate that not everyone wants to or has the time to make their own clothes, and budget's often a huge factor in what people can afford to do. But the best thing we can do is to cut down our consumption. Whether that's eating animal products or taking flights or driving our cars or buying fashion, I just want people to think before they buy. Try buying less, buying secondhand, upcycling or buying from ethical suppliers.